What you're about to see is the silent killer in paragliding, panic. When this pilot's glider collapses, cravats, and he loses control of it completely, the last thing that he should do is panic. Today, I'm going to break down not just the exact technique that you need to use to recover a glider like this, but also some of the mental conditioning tools that you're going to need if you want to fly a long, safe paragliding career. Ready? Here we go.
See ya.
I'm an elite paraglider with over 3,000 flight hours and multiple distance records. Founder of the Paragliding Men's Group, where great pilots transform into greater men, partners, and fathers. Mastery in the sky begins with owning our shit on the ground, so if you're a man who wants it all, welcome home. Hey everybody, what's up? This is Ari in the Air. Welcome back to the channel. Stoked you're here today. I've got a very revealing video for you, but before I dive into this, I want to invite you to join me in the Spring Tuneup if you're a safety-minded pilot and you want to dive deep on the exact technical skills and mindset tools that you'll need to have a long, safe paragliding career. It's 3 Wednesday mornings live online. Link is in the description below. Join us. We're a group of pilots from all over the world who do this once a year. So we'd love to have you. Let's get right into this video here. So we're going to watch it through one time and then I'll break it down for ya. Okay. He's flying an Arctic R in Brazil. Big development for the day. He's on the rears, on speed bar. Big collapse, blinded by the tail of the submarine, blinded by the tail of the submarine. Big cravat, stalls, blinded by the tail. Line twisted, untwisted, retwisted. Glider starts to auto-rotate, unchecked, gets another big cravat. Now the glider is diving again. Now it's fully stalled, shoots forward. Big cravat here. Now he's tugging, plucking, tugging, jerking, letting it turn, tugging, plucking, grabbing whole riser sets, just anything that he can grab here. Nothing is little tiny pumps of the brake, tiny pumps. Now he's grabbing A-lines on the other side of the glider. Now the glider is clean on the other side, but he's still grabbing little tiny pumps, grabbing lines, letting go, grabbing lines, just yarding, pulling, just struggling, struggle bussing, panicking. You can just tell just by his body language here that he's just kind of frantic, panicking, struggling, pulling A's on the other side, big ears on one side. Not sure what to do, so he turns his camera off. Okay, so thanks to the pilot for sharing this video on the internet. This has been sent to me like 4 or 5 times by viewers asking me to review this, so happy to do so here. And obviously no shame to the pilot. Paragliding is very scary, and we get ourselves into situations that challenge our capacity to be present and to perform under a lot of pressure. Okay, high stakes scenario here. So there's a couple things we're going to go through. One is really obvious in this video, is that if you don't need to be flying a submarine, don't fly a submarine. Like honestly, on a C2 liner, it's like, unless you're on a Xeno or an Enzo, it's just like, what's the point, man? Like if taking a collapse is going to turn into some huge blinding event because the tail then wraps around your head. This is not the first video that we've seen the submarine wrap around the pilot's head in collapse recovery. The very first one of these videos of my friend Matt Hinsey on an Enzo, that happens to him. Apparently Ozone has refined the internal structuring of the tail of the submarine to keep it from doing this. I fly a Flow Vista XC, which has a massive fairing on it, and Felipe did a great job. I've been practicing stalls, and the thing stays tight for a while before it deflates when you stall. So these things are getting better, and I don't think this is going to be a huge problem moving forward as the designers ameliorate this particular problem. But man, if your glider is stalled, cravated, auto-rotating, stalled, and now you're being blinded, this is like a really bad time, like bad timing to not be able to see your work. Also, this just goes to show you have to have muscle memory on this shit, man. Especially if you're flying a submarine, you're going to get blinded by it. Look at this frame here, just like in a couple frames. Look at this. Glider is shooting below him. Look at how gnarly this is. Look at that. Glider in a ball below him, double cravat. Ugh. Okay, so we're going to avoid that. But in this case, we didn't really see what his hands did in the collapse, so we can only talk about collapse recovery. So being blinded. If you don't need to fly a submarine, don't fly a submarine. Glider stalls. So what is the thing that I've been saying over and over that I've basically made my mantra now? Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. With a cravat of this size, now the glider is flying, right? One side is totally open. One side has a 20% cravat. The glider, you can land it like this. You can land the glider like this. The glider will fly perfectly straight like this. You can absolutely control it. In the earlier video with Mitch flying the Arctic R as well in the Karakoram, taking a huge collapse cravat at almost 17,000 feet in Pakistan, he does exactly that. He controls the heading of the glider, That's what is important in collapse recovery. Anytime you have a cravat, just hear my voice, brother. Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. Don't let the glider turn you. The next thing you need to do here, don't let the glider turn you, get control of the heading. Take a deep breath. You have just endured something very frightening. Big collapses and cascade events are really, really frightening. So control the heading of the glider, take a deep breath, take yourself a second. There's no rush. He's thousands of feet off the ground here, landings everywhere. Control the heading of the glider, take a deep breath, reset yourself, because if you want to clear this cravat, it's going to take some expert level piloting. Okay. This is another example. This is an Arctic R. Lots of videos coming my way of ENC two-liners. I know it's so tempting to want to step up to get a little more performance, to get a submarine harness. You're going to glide so good. You're going to keep up with your buddies. Resist the urge to step up for your vanity, for your performance. If you're not incredibly comfortable with spinning out cravats and full stalling your glider, then you should not be moving up to an ENC two-liner. Personal humble opinion. Not that humble. Okay, so what needs to happen here? Big cravat. Heading needs to get controlled. If you're not really comfortable with full stalls, then you need to spin the cravat out. For a cravat like this, anytime the wingtip is going through lines and is like flapping, take one look at that. I'm like, this is a stall scenario. 100%, this is a stall scenario. This is not that bad of a cravat. In Mitch's video, you see that he actually had a bigger cravat and the spinning works. It might take you a couple of tries to spin it out. So here, let's just review the spin technique, which is, first of all, you want to control the heading of the glider. Don't let it turn you, don't let it turn you, don't let it turn you. So if it's trying to auto-rotate to the right in this case, and to spin the glider, you have to take the right brake and stuff it to the ground and back, then you can imagine that keeping the glider from turning is going to be very difficult. And you want to weight shift away, keep the heading controlled with the outside brake, and then go from hands totally up with a half wrap. Depending on how big the cravat is, you might actually have extra brake slack. You might even need a half wrap plus. And you go from absolutely hands up to your shoulder driving down. So you're actually going to like punch down using your tricep here, big muscle groups, because it's going to take a lot of force. It has a lot of brake pressure to be able to spin the glider from straight above your head, because you don't want the glider to roll over. You don't want the glider to like start turning. You want it to spin immediately. What we're trying to do here is get the glider to go backwards so that the air comes from behind the glider and pushes the wingtip out of the lines to clear it. That is the goal. So to do that, we have to absolutely stuff the brake so hard, so fast, and so deep. The bigger the cravat, the more developed the spin will need to be to clear it. So in this case, where you have wingtip going through the lines and flapping, it's going to need to be a pretty considerable spin for it to clear the lines. And you might have to iterate this 2, 3, 4, 5 times to clear the cravat. I would not be spinning the glider in this case. I would be back flying or deep stalling, building pressure inside the glider, going into deep stall if I need to blow the cravat out, and then deep stall to build the span again. If it's not clearing, then I'll go back into deep stall trying to clear the lines, back into deep stall to build the span before I let it fly. That's the ideal scenario. Obviously, if I'm super scared and I've just taken a big collapse in the Karakoram or some shit, then my performance might be a little bit worse, or I might need to fly the glider out and calm down and get myself in a mental state where I know that I can actually perform the full stall that I know that I can do. But at any rate, we see in the video, the pilot trying to pull the stabilo. The stabilo is the last thing that you do in a cravat. I've made a video here all about cravats, every technique that you would ever need to clear any cravat. You can go find that. But in general, I think think that the stabilo is basically the last thing that you need to do. Here's the problem with the stabilo. In this case, the pilot is staring at the cravat, is he not? And what happens with the glider? It basically continues to turn. He doesn't control the heading. He's panicking. When the glider is cravated, look at the line set. So on one side, the clean side left here, you can see that the stabilo line is clearly identifiable, right? The outside A's, I don't know which one is stabilo on this glider, but the line set is spread apart. When the glider gets cravated, now the line set gets fucked up and it becomes spaghetti. So how do you know which line is the stabilo here? Because surely it's one of the slack ones, right? It's probably the thinnest slack one right here. But at any rate, with a cravat like this, not only do you need to get a hold of it, not only do you need to pull it, you are actually going to need to reel in 2 meters of it. Seriously, think about how much slack is here. If you're going to pull that wingtip down, like you can pull on it a meter and you let go and it goes right back to where it was. Like you're literally going to have to reel in a meter of it and then another meter of it until it goes down and then gets close towards the lines that's going to clear. So just tugging on the stabilo in a configuration like this is going to do jack diddly. So it's a stall situation. If you aren't comfortable stall and you want to preserve the glider flying forward as much as you can, then you're going to need to spin the glider, which is an asymmetric stall. When you spin the glider, you're going to need to develop the spin pretty significantly for this to come out. When you develop significantly a spin, the glider, the entirety of the glider will become very susceptible to full stall. So you have to be very careful with the other brake. In the video with Mitch in the Karakoram, you see that he finally, on his third attempt to clear the cravat, stuffs it, spins big, the spin develops, and he, when the glider pops out, he actually checks the outside glider that's going positive, and it stalls the entirety of the glider, okay? When you're spinning, you got to be really careful with the outside. Anytime you're stalling one side of the glider, the other side becomes very susceptible to stall. These are things that you really want in your muscle memory. You don't want to hesitate your spin and panic towards the stabilo here. The problem with the stabilo, you're looking at the cravat, which makes you lean over. If you want to pick at the stabilo, you have to lean over. You lean, you look, you lean. When in reality, you want to look at the horizon and control the heading. Okay, then you want to look up at the center of the glider and stall, spin, control the heading, right? Like, so in general, the stabilo being the cravat technique is like a flaw that we want to erase from pilots' memories. But here's the thing. The other thing that can happen in this case, like I said, you could probably land this glider like this. You could also fly out over the perfect LZ and throw your reserve if you don't want to spin it. You could also fly out, control the heading, and begin to like patiently figure out the stabilo, pull it in, bite it with your teeth, reach up, grab it, pull it in, bite it with your teeth, reach up. Like, I've done it. It's not a super pretty situation, but that's what it takes to clear this kind of cravat with the stabilo if you're not comfortable full stalling or spinning. So in general, also let's talk about the mindset here of the panic. One thing that a lot of SIV instructors will have you do is grab the A riser on one side, pull the A riser down into your lap and hold it there, and now control the heading. This is a great exercise. A 50% cravat will still be, you can control the heading of it, okay? And like I've said in previous videos, don't let the glider turn you. If the cravat is trying to turn the glider and you persist on the brake to make it fly straight and it stalls the glider, then fair enough. But practicing flying the glider straight while you have a giant big ear or half of the glider collapsed is a great technique. So all of this, like trying to pull A's or big ears or like the little tiny pumps on the brake, the little pumps will not clear that. Huge pumps. You can start with pumps. Pumps is fine. Control the heading, pump it. If that doesn't work, then you're going to have to pump it further, harder, and for longer. And if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to pump it for further, harder, and longer. And if that doesn't work, then pumping it with both brakes so it stalls. This is how I think about big, nasty cravats. But first and foremost, control the heading of the glider. Take a deep breath. Calm down. It's going to be okay. The glider is flyable like this. Control the heading. Take a deep breath and then reassess the situation. There are many options available to you in this configuration. When you panic, you lose your optionality. You get tunnel vision. You think, I need to clear this right now. But in reality, you don't need to clear it right now. You can fly straight. You you can find yourself calm or calmer, and you can execute what you need to execute. If you are a safety-minded pilot and you want to dive deep on the exact technical skills and mindset conditioning that will help you show up when shit hits the fan in a way that'll save your life, then consider joining us in the Spring Tuneup. It's going to be a great group of people from all over the world on 3 live Zoom calls with me. We're going to do it Wednesday mornings, PST. Everything will be recorded if you can't make the meeting. All of your questions will be answered. Even if you can't be at the meeting, you email them in. I'll answer them all and send them to you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this is helpful. And thank you to the pilot who recorded and uploaded this video so that we can learn from it. Fly safe. We'll see you on the next episode.